As the world outside seems to be getting darker, colder, and more oppressive with each day, it is more important than ever to connect to the truth of who you are, the light within, so that you can shine that through you, from you, out to those around you. Midday Mindfulness is being created specifically to deliver you all the information that you will ever require in order to inspire and empower yourself, to become the source of your own inspiration and with it, your own liberation. In this weekly podcast, Kaine Stromberg and all of his amazing guests bring to you the very secrets to reality, how to go about actually becoming an energy master and with it, mastering life itself. Greetings, infinite blessings, and welcome to another moment of now and another episode of Midday Mindfulness. My name is Kaine Stromberg, and I will be your guide as we travel into the very depths of the understanding of the self as well as everyone else. As the more information we have at our disposal, the more rational a decision or conclusion that we can come to. We can only do with that at our disposal. If I give you a saw and ask you to cut down a tree, then you could go ahead and do so. It may take you a few hours or even days, depending on the size of the tree. If I gave you a chainsaw, it would make the job a lot more easy and, let's say, beneficial in a time constraint. So the more that we learn, the more that we grow. The more that we know, the more that we can then go forwards and do and achieve with the self-belief, which allows us to continue that forward journey of evolution within the self as well as the collective. So today I'm going to discuss the divide and conquer techniques that have been utilized and practiced throughout history. The ones that they are currently once again implementing to bring us into a state of distress, dis-ease within the self, almost like a snow globe. You can see the beautiful picture with clarity when everything is calm and settled. When somebody comes along and shakes it up, it causes all form of distress and distraction. And we don't actually know what it is that we are looking at anymore. Today's title is Karren is a bitch, because there is a running joke globally that it's another Karren. Come on, Karren. Stop being a Karren. The truth is, anytime we see somebody and we lower them to a position of less than we believe ourselves to be, we are not only judging that person, but we are judging the part of ourself that they remind us of. Whether we are conscious of this or not, everything we experience is a projection, a room of mirrors, if you like. And quite often upon the spiritual awakening journey, it is the more traumatic experiences, the more heavy characters that we come into contact with that actually help us to learn and to grow and to evolve forwards as we continue to just enjoy the experience for what it is. Just that, an experience. So anybody listening live, hello, welcome. Hi, Tammy. I hope you're well. Please drop any comments or questions, keeping it in mind that today is all about divide and conquer. And if there's anyone or any situation that you are becoming frustrated and angered by that is potentially distracting you from the truth of who you are, then allow me to guide you back home to love. I did a live yesterday, or a short video, basically saying that I love everyone, but I don't like most people. I don't like people, but I love you as a person. And that's the truth, because if we don't know what we like and what we dislike, then we end up, again, at the moment, just stuck in the mud. Nobody really knows where they're going or what they're doing. Nobody has any excitement or optimism for any journey towards any particular destination. It's almost as though people are grateful to be able to do whatever it is in the moment that they are experiencing. So, fuck me, is that not beautiful? This current pandemic has actually caused people to stop looking forwards and attaching their happiness to something that is yet to be experienced, and actually just enjoying life moment upon moment, breath after breath. It's beautiful. There is only now. The past does not exist. Only within your mind, a memory of it, or your personal perception or interpretation of it. The future does not exist. It's a forward projection of an unknown event, and again, an expectation and a desire to control that expected event and create the outcome that you wish to experience. So neither of them actually exist. The past and the future do not exist. Only within your mind, your perception or expectation or memory of it. So then only now exists. And in truth, even that does not. Because again, if you take away the mind, as we've discussed before, to say, I don't mind, is completely a way of being that I have come into completion in everything that I do. I sometimes fall off track, let's say. I sometimes attach my mind to things and an egoic desire to experience a particular outcome. More often than not, at the moment, especially with the beautiful weather that is outside, I really don't mind. I've got nowhere to go, nothing to do. And it's only the illusion of time that ever creates any form of distress for myself. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. Whoa, chill out, my man. You don't have to do anything. It's all a choice. Choose left or choose right. Really doesn't matter. It's what you do after choosing the direction that then actually decides whether the final destination that you reach, whether it is good or bad. Again, realizing that without one, there is no other. So it is a gift. And in this present moment, a gift of now, I ask that you just return, if only for one moment, to the breath. As everything that has been experienced by myself recently has been heavily revolved or related to the breath. And the truth is, without the breath, you wouldn't be alive to experience any of it. Something very interesting that I realized yesterday whilst having dinner and looking at the flowers that were upon the table was that we can relate ourselves to nature in almost every single way. So you cut some flowers to put them in a jar, in a vase, so that you can put them on your table so they look pretty, right? And actually, the flower continues to grow, and it actually is receptive and responds to the light. The flowers open and close accordingly as they would do if they were outside in the garden. So then I was thinking, well, where's the consciousness within the flower? Previously, I would have just expected or taken it to be that it was within the root system, connects to the earth. It is the most rational place that the consciousness of that flower would be. And then very quickly I said, well, no, it's in every single fiber of the being of that flower, every single atom, every single molecule, and even the space between, every element that makes up that flower, all the energy that is vibrating at whatever frequency that flower is, all in harmony with one another. The frequency is the consciousness. The energy is the consciousness. Consciousness is all. So therefore, consciousness exists within the rock and the wall, as well as within me and with you. If you cut a flower down, it will continue to exist for a period of time as long as it has water that is sat within. When a tree loses its leaves, it is no longer able to photosynthesize and to create the food required to sustain itself, but it will continue to live, to survive, looking as though it is dead on the surface, but with all the nutrients stored in the root system, waiting until the optimal conditions are there to then flourish and thrive once again. And this is like us. We can exist without food for quite a long period of time. And with water, not quite so much time. And it is all relevant once again. So the water that the plants are sat within are continuing their survival, their experience, their existence. And as I say, they respond to the sunlight. So there is still consciousness within them. Whether it is a pre-programmed consciousness, like a program that just responds automatically, like the lights that come on in your garden when the sun goes down and it becomes dark, the sensor realizes that there is darkness around and turns the light on accordingly. I have not actually delved into the depth of the consciousness of a flower. Maybe that is something that I can do at a later date. But I just wanted to remind each and every one of you that we are all connected. And with that single breath that I ask once again, you connect to now, as it fills your entire being, entering into you and becoming part of you. And as I breathe that same breath, that same air into me, as it enters me and becomes part of me, connecting me to the air around me and you to the air around you, connecting us together. The most simplistic form of mindfulness techniques are all related to the breath or to the way that we hold ourselves or walk, something that you do mindlessly, moment upon moment. When you attach the mind to it, it changes everything. So to return to the current situation, the fear, the repression, the separation, the divide and conquer techniques that they are implementing, they seem to be working so incredibly well. But remember, my friends, light always overcomes darkness. The goodies always win. Everything that is taking place, whether you can accept it, believe it, whatever you want to do with this information is yours. Because again, it's your life. So live it however you choose. Everything that they are doing is what we are doing, as they are we. There is no separation. The devil and the angel exist right here. I am both of them in completion. I have the ability to absolutely destroy, as well as to create, to hold space, to be the light and project that love everywhere that I go. And I've started to act more accordingly, moment upon moment. And doing so allows for part of myself a freedom of expression without actually then becoming hooked or triggered by a situation or event. If Karren came up to me and was being a bitch, I would make sure that I shone her even more love and light, and in a way that allowed her to realize that what she's doing is out of order. Karren comes up to me angry and frustrated, and she throws all the anger and frustration at me. If I bounce it and mirror it back to her, not only have I absorbed it and lowered my vibration accordingly to it, but then I throw it back at her, and then I am the one that is victimizing and repressing her, especially as I am 6'4" and she is not. So, unless she is, Maybe Karren is 6'4". Maybe she's 6'4" and a man built like a brick shit house. Who knows? Whatever you want to call yourself, again, is your choice. There is nothing that is right or wrong. Everything is a stepping stone upon the journey. It just depends on whether that stepping stone is one that you can skip joyfully over, or one that is more slippy, or that is going to require more energy in order to be able to even stand upon it for a single moment. You know, once you start to follow your intuition, you know. I did this yesterday with my girlfriend. We went to the park for the afternoon to work through some more of the book. And she said, am I currently manifesting a puppy? To which I said, I have not been manifesting a puppy at any point in time. I've been in the past manifesting a dog, one that requires a home from somebody that no longer wants it. But to actually go out and purchase a puppy is something that I'm not focused on in any way, shape, or form. So she said, well, that was kind of my way of asking if we can get a puppy. And I was like, well, of course, if you want to get a puppy, then we can get a puppy. And that's for you to manifest if you wish to experience that. I'm happy to experience it. I'd be overjoyed to experience it. It's just not something I'm personally focused upon at present. So she said, so you'd be happy to get a Great Dane puppy? And I said, yes, I would love to. Within about 30 seconds, there's a woman walking down the hill with a Great Dane. And I said to her, she's like, wow, look at that. It's absolutely beautiful. The colorings on it was amazing. And I had been drawn towards a group of people that were at the top of the park doing some form of exercise, to go over to speak to them, to connect, and to invite them into the local community group that we have set up, that hasn't been operational as much since the whole lockdown and everything else. And it's time to bring back into action. So yoga over the park every Saturday morning kind of thing. As we're walking up there, that's where we then come into contact with the Great Dane. And I said to Jess, you can't, this is undeniable. And it's being open to experience these kinds of things, right? There's no way that you have just talked about getting a Great Dane and then literally within a minute, there is one there. That is a conversation that needs to be had. There's a reason that this woman is here with her dog. So it's up to you to go and talk to her. And there was umming and ahhing. And then I said, right, let's walk in a straight line, and she will reach a point where we come in and cross paths again. So we walked back upon ourselves, almost prowling, watching her as she was walking along the grassy area, and we were along the path. We stopped to look at the tree where the owl is to make it seem as though we were just having a stroll. And then stopped at one point where she was near the path, and it got almost to a point where it was a little bit like awkward. So I went over, instead of waiting there for her and her being a bit confused, I just took a few more steps and said, oh, how old's your dog? Colorings on it were absolutely amazing. And then developed a conversation where we discovered where the puppy was, where the dog originated from as a puppy. Spoke to the woman for 10, 15 minutes, and she gave us her whole life story. And it was an enriching experience for everyone involved. It's taking those opportunities. So next time you come into contact with Karren, I ask that you don't bounce back and throw back all that anger and become lowered in vibration, harmonizing to her, but you actually continue to hold space for yourself as well as her, keeping yourself at a higher state of frequency and allowing her to potentially raise to meet you. So it's time to stop trying to take away people's pain. It's time to stop trying to take away people's pain. And instead, it is time to allow the assistance of transcending it. It's time to transcend the pollutants within the body of water that is housed within the vessel that you are. If there's pollutants in the ocean, we scoop them out and recycle them. If there's pollutants in you, then you can go about breathing them out, grounding, and doing very, very beautiful and easy to learn energy cleansing and energizing techniques. Again, any of this that you wish information upon is already found on the Cosmic Surfer YouTube channel. And drop me a line, drop me a message, either on YouTube or on any of the socials. Go over to Linktree, and there's got all of my personal connects on there as well. As we are here to assist, to guide each other as we continue upon our journey back home to the self. So it's like a duck to water. You let Karren throw all her shit at you because she's angry, and actually then you've helped her to release that shit, but you don't allow it into yourself. You don't allow it to affect yourself, and you don't allow it to attach or to hook onto yourself. Imagine that she's throwing loads of shit at you, and there's lines of shit. It's all energy, and each thing, each word has an ability to actually hook into you. And if one hooks, then it's because there's something within that word or that phrase or that expression that she's delivered that you dislike about yourself, or you don't have control over. And it reminds you that you don't have control over it. And then the ego feels empowered. No, disempowered. And it requires an empowerment. So it tries to then wrong the person that has made you feel wronged. Every single person does the best that they can with the information they have at their disposal. The people at the top of the pyramid that are trying to control us through fear and repression, and again, utilizing that divide and conquer technique, they are just misguided because they have been born into a family or a position in society that generation after generation has gone about using the information that I now have access to, that we are developing some very, very powerful workshops and masterclasses, free courses, all online, all on the website, so that we can deliver this information to those of you that are ready, doing so very mindfully and ensuring that it does not fall into the wrong hands. The secrets to reality exist within you. You have access to all of the information that you will ever require. And again, when I work with clients, all I do is guide them back home to that truth, creating a space of unconditional love so that they know that whatever they have done, experienced, or whoever they believe themselves to be, I love them unconditionally as I love myself. I've done some fucked up shit in the past, and that helps me to rationalize and connect to what other people do, to empathize and to relate. I understand. I've been there myself. So there's nothing that you can ever say or do that will shock me. Again, some things I'm confused by, and some people I don't particularly like. But I love it all, and I'm grateful for it all. Yes. It is. It's taking the rough with the smooth. It's like popcorn. You can have sweet, or you can have salty, or you can mix the two together and have a bit of diversity. If it was always joyful, blissful, if everything was always unicorns and rainbows, then there'd be nothing to experience, because you just become mundanely disattached from the whole experience. Or it's only light. Everywhere is light. There's nothing else other than light. No, this is boring. Get me out of here. Give me something to experience. Okay, let's add a bit of dark. Okay, now there's everything. Everything in existence now comes into completion because of the light and the dark. Only darkness, nothing. Only light, nothing. Requires both sides. It requires the sinners as well as the saints. It requires those of you that are holding space, being the light, and keeping that compassion for yourself and everybody else alive, as well as the repressors and the victims of the world. So, Karren, I fucking love you, because without you, I wouldn't grow. And I wouldn't really have an understanding of what I know. I may have access to all the information in the same way that I do now, but I wouldn't understand it because I had nothing to relate it to. Somebody tells you a story, this happened to you, instantly you become familiarized with it. You're like, oh yeah, okay, I'm listening. This interests me because it happened to me. And I'd actually like to know what happened to you. If it's something that you have never experienced, then that interest is not there in the same way. You may be interested in that person, so you may listen to their story. But if you have not experienced something similar yourself, you won't really relate to it. And you won't really, or that part of yourself that wants to learn continuously won't really care. So once again, allow people to let go of their anger and frustration. And this is the way that I did it myself just yesterday. We were stood at a beautiful, beautiful seaside town upon the path waiting near the ice cream shop. And there was maybe about 6 of us. A woman walked up and instantly, I'm very aware of everything around me. I can feel people before they even come near me, which again, it could be viewed as a gift or as a hindrance. When we went to Portugal and there was over 1,000 people queuing up to check in at 2 windows. And then I went and asked for more windows to be opened and we ended up with 8. And I was keeping everyone calm. And every time somebody would come to the front and be very angry, I would calm them down. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience. But I was transcending so much heavy energy that little bits of it was still not connecting to. But look at it like a hose, right? You're a hose. You're flushing through this beautiful, clean energy. You start to flush through this very heavy, acidic-based energy, dark and red. You're going to experience it, whether you're transcending it or holding on to it. And at one point, I felt physically sick and I wanted to cry because of the feeling of repression in that airport. People have gone on holiday and treated like absolute shit. But this is just a generalized way that society treats people now. Okay, you have to do it as we say. You're free to do as we tell you, okay? Oh, can I go over? No, that's not where I said you can go. Go over there. What if I deny? What if I pay? Yeah, okay. If you pay more money, you can do whatever the fuck you want. But if you don't have the money, then you have to do as we tell you. Ah, okay. Again, divide and conquer. So back to the beautiful, beautiful woman that I met yesterday. She approached us, the group of us, stopped, looked quite disgusted, took her mask out of her bag, put it on her face, and then said, "Are you lot just going to stand there blocking the path then, are you?" To which I said, "Hello, madam, it does appear so, yes. Do you have legs and are you able to walk around us?" Very, very politely, but also with an element of tickling, causing her more distress and frustration. This then obviously caused that part of her to become even more aggravated and angered. And she started cursing, effing and blinding, told us that we should get out of the way. To which I said, "Thank you for your opinion, madam. Have a beautiful rest of the day." She stuck her finger up at us and went off in the most frustrated manner possible. The thing is that when she gets away from that situation and calms herself down, she will realize that what she did was out of context, out of order. because there was no hostility or anger projected back to her. She would actually look at herself and think, okay, maybe I was a bit out of order in that situation. Maybe it was a bit over the top to respond in the way I did. You know, if you're going to walk on the path, we're all free to walk on the path. If you're going to stand on the path for even 1 second at one moment in your life, no matter where it is, then we're all free to do the same. Judgment of another is only ever judgment of the self. So I imagine that she would actually go away and reflect upon that interaction, and it will help her with her growth and evolution of the self. If I had become frustrated, and for me, there was absolutely no attachment, there was no hook, there was no second thought. So when something happens, and this has become very, very recent that I've experienced this, normally something would happen, I'd be an interaction, and then I'd analyze it and I'd go over it and I'd almost judge myself or question whether I responded in the correct way. Okay, I was polite, but why did they treat me like that? That's not fair. Poor me, basically, is what would come back up. Some form of victimization. Knowing that everything I experience is my creation means I actually called her in so that I could have that interaction for whatever reason. I don't always know. And it's not for us to know. It's just for us to experience and then to let go. There was no hook. There was no attachment. As soon as she'd gone, she was gone. There wasn't a second thought about it. The thought of her came back up later when it seemed that there was lots of more Karens that were being experienced whilst driving, very unspatially aware people that are so, again, so alluded to what is taking place. There is no direction of attention because they don't know what to believe. So they're looking in 16 different directions. And then, well, of course, they don't know where they're going or what they're doing. And once again, if I'd have become angered and frustrated by her, at her, then I would only have become lowered in frequency and vibration myself. I would have almost taken upon her feeling state, the energy and motion within her, connecting to and affecting the energy and motion in me, causing me to experience the emotion of anger and frustration. And then that would have done nobody any good whatsoever. So I allowed her to throw her shit at me. And then I actually poked her and said, go on, throw a bit more. Let go of a bit more of it. After doing so, I sent her on her way with love, ending the conversation and interaction literally like that, with love. She carried on her way and I on mine. And now I'm speaking to her. So if or when, because this will come across your path so you can listen to this, the beautiful woman that we met in Albury yesterday, thank you. Thank you for allowing your expression of frustration to be voiced. Because if we try to deny something, the denial of it will continue the existence of it. Again, if a river or a body of water, somebody chucks a load of rubbish in the river, if the river tries to deny the rubbish is there, it has a tendency to become blocked. If you focus on the fact you don't want the rubbish there within the river, then again, you are focusing upon the rubbish to the exclusion of everything else. Those of you looking at me watching on the video, if you were to look at this part of my cheek, there is a little pimple. If all I focused on was that area every time I caught sight of my reflection, and I decided that it was ugly or hideous and that I was disformed or disfigured because of one small pimple, which seems extreme, but in today's society, when everything is so finely tuned and focused, and there is an image or projection of perfection almost everywhere we go with the latest product or face cream that you need in order to be beautiful enough to even be seen. If you focus upon that one small element, then that is all you will see. If instead you accept that it's there and just allow it to exist, let it go, watch as it floats on by. The river doesn't become frustrated or angered when somebody chucks rubbish in it. It doesn't go, fuck you, Karren, you silly cunt. Come pick up your rubbish and put it in the bin. It's just like, it's mindless. It has no mind. It does not matter. There is no mind to attach to it. It's just flowing, carefree. The rubbish is thrown into it and it just continues to flow, flowing that rubbish back to the ocean. As the river itself returns to the ocean. And in the waves of existence, the ups and downs, the twists and turns, the waves over a period of time, dependent on how long that is, whether it's a year or a billion years, matters not, because time, again, is an illusion. It will be broken down and redistributed, reclaimed, recleansed, and turned into something new. So back to the mirrors, and those of you listening that understand the concept that it is all a projection of with the internal to the external to experience that which we do not like or that requires attention within the self. This is true. And there is also another element to the situation or story that introduces a timeless state of being. If I'm here and you're there and we're mirroring, we're doing so in a timeless state. So potentially what you see in somebody else that frustrates and angers you is something that you see in yourself from a previous situation. You may have dealt with and overcome or transcended or integrated that element that used to cause you limitations to become unmindful of what it is that you were doing or the way that you were responding or reacting. If there is any form of trigger, then it's because potentially there is still acceptance and allowance to take place. Whoever you are and wherever you are, you've experienced repression, victimization, and some form of trauma in your life. Guaranteed. We all have. We all have been in a place where we feel victimized and that we don't have a choice or control over things in life. The truth is, it is always your choice. Karren doesn't know that she has a different way of responding or being able to respond. She doesn't know. They know not what they know. She does the best she can do with the information she has at her disposal. Once we realize and fully embody and accept the truth that we are responsible for our own life and everything within it, it is a very traumatic experience to begin with, because you think, well, fuck's sake, why am I experiencing this? Why would I call this into my existence? Why? And again, it's not to know why. It's just to accept. There is an element of collective consciousness that is higher than your ability to perceive. In the mind, you can interact and experience a wide variety of situations, but there's some things that the mind cannot fathom. The mind could not fathom the way that I've brought into manifestation a lot of what I have experienced thus far, especially over the last year. If I tried to do it by thinking it and actually planning it and taking those steps accordingly, there's no fucking way. By putting into action and requesting something and then just sitting back and allowing it to come to me, I'm free. And the way that I was showing this a couple of weeks ago, the way that I shared it with somebody else, is like going to the restaurant and ordering a meal. You decide what it is that you want. Okay, I would like to have some fajitas. And this is manifestation in its most simplistic form, okay? I would like to have some fajitas. I would like to have a new car, let's say. The element that is required to exchange is energy. Everything is an exchange of energy. The element or the material object that we use to purchase or receive things is called money. Yeah. Money doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. It's a human construct and limitation, again, second probably to time. Time is the greatest illusional limitation. And then lack and the lack of money. The reason people want money is because they feel safe with money. So really all that somebody wants is safety, the preservation and continued evolution of the physical self. So I go to the restaurant. The waiter brings me the menu and I choose off the menu. The menu you have to manifest from is whatever you can imagine it to be, that you're not limited to any particular recipe list or menu according to any previous experiences. If you can imagine it within the mind, if you can picture it within the mind, then you can bring it into the physical. Just depends how much you want it. If you go to a restaurant, there's not something that's not on the menu, and there's something that I really wanted, I would 9 times out of 10 get what I wanted by talking to the people along the chain in a way that relates to them and allows them to feel as though they are benefiting themselves as well as myself by actually delivering that which I request. It's all about the way that you speak to people, the language you use, and the intention behind it. So I order my meal. Fajitas, please. And then I sit back and enjoy the experience, communicating with those around me, or just soaking up the atmosphere. I do all of this sitting and enjoying, not waiting to receive the meal, but knowing that I will at the right time. Hey, beautiful. Woo-hoo. Hey, girl. Hope you're well. Love you. If I was to try to control the manifestational ability, if I was to try to plan out how it is that I would manifest and bring into the material around my new car, I would sit there and think, okay, I need X amount of money. So I need to work X amount of hours extra a week, and it will take me X amount of time. And then I can do X, Y, and Z. Blah, 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 blah. That's incorporating the mind and a desire to control the way that the manifestation of that which you wish to experience is brought into the physical realm. It's similar to ordering the meal and then actually following the waiter to the kitchen to make sure that the waiter takes the order to the chef. Okay, that's been done. Okay, chef, now what I want you to do is actually to make it in this way. I want you to use these ingredients, so many grams of this, so many grams of that, to cook it for this long, to present it in this way. And I want it on this colored plate, and then this, this, and this. When you then sit down and go back and sit down, making sure that you followed the waiter and he's carried it properly and presented it to you accordingly. When you sit down to experience the meal, it won't be enjoyable because you've become so fixated on the creation of it. The actual materialization and the fact that it is sat right in front of you doesn't really matter. If instead you give your order and just sit back and knowing that it will come to you in divine time, then it will. And that is all to do with self-worth and self-belief. The reason that when we pray to God, God answers our prayers is because there is so much belief in the entity named God. Look at yourself as a flashlight, okay? And the more flashlights that are shone on any particular experience or element of existence, the more belief and faith is housed within it. Because so many people, so many lights, so many elements or points of consciousness. Okay, so there's a collective consciousness of the entire universe. Look at it as I keep seeing marbles, loads of little balls, all sand. Every grain of sand on the planet is a part of consciousness of the universe. If you take a handful of sand and you put it over to the right on a little table that says God, there's quite a lot of sand on that table now. There's quite a lot of consciousness that is focused upon that element that is called God. So then co-creation comes into play, and we bring into existence that entity named God. The entity named God can then go about answering your prayers if you feel yourself worthy of receiving that which you request from the waiter that is God. And then you receive accordingly. You don't try to control or manipulate the order. You believe that God will answer your prayers. So he does, because again, you have vibrationally given out your order to the universe, and then you sit back knowing it will be delivered because you have placed your belief in something outside of the self, something higher than the self. The truth is, there is nothing higher than you. You are it all, everything, or nothing at all. You create it all or nothing at all. You are it all or nothing at all. There is no middle ground. The yin and the yang, the light and the dark, they are one, completing the self. If it was only light, there would be nothing. Only dark, there would be nothing. It is everything or nothing at all. You create every experience in your life, or none of them. So that, my friends, is the expression or piece of information that I would like to leave you with to actually really sit in. You create it all or nothing at all. You can't create the good, not the bad, the happy and not the sad. Just because you don't egoically desire the experience of certain things, it doesn't mean that you haven't brought them into existence. I want to learn how to get back up so I can help other people get back up if they fall over. Okay, tick. Walk outside and fall flat on my face down some stairs. Fuck's sake, why did I fall over? Oh, it's that stone's fault that was on the step that I tripped on, made me fall. Hang on, did you not just ask to learn how to get back up so you could help other people get back up? What the fuck do you expect other than to fall so you learn how to get back up? And the more situations that you fall over in, the more that you learn how to get back up in once again. It's not fucking easy. I didn't say it was, and I never will say it is, because it's not. Life is shit. That's the truth of it. It's the whole point in reaching enlightenment, so we can get off this fucking crazy roundabout that we call life. So therein again is the desire to control. I will cook it all myself. I will deliver it to myself, and I will enjoy it myself, because there is only the self, but there's lots of selves. So why not allow the self that is really passionate about cooking to cook it? The self that is really passionate about connecting and enriching the lives of those around them to deliver it to you. And the self that is you to just sit and enjoy that experience. Position I'm in now is to, I'm done with the hard way. I really fucking am. I've done it, and doesn't benefit me or anybody else. It's time to bring into the material a wealth that is beyond recognition, so that I can distribute it to everyone. The amount of money Elon Musk has, he could give everybody in the whole fucking world $1 billion, and he wouldn't even notice. Everything would massively change. It would change the whole construct of the world like that, because of the distribution of energy and everybody feeling more harmonized and equal to each other. There would not be so much I need, I want, I have to have. And there would be more, what is it would like to do? How is it I would want to spend this moment of now, this gift of the present moment? When we take away a feeling of insecurity, it allows us to reconnect back to the truth of who we are, the unlimited self, the eternal self. Fear, even a fear of death, is only attached to the physical body. Fear is an illusion. It's not real. When you die, you're not going to be scared of dying, just going to experience it for what it is, death. Like pressing reboot on your computer. You've had a day, plodding away, working, experiencing, playing a few games. The end of the day comes and you turn off your computer. However long you go to sleep for, whether you take a lot of time off, an eternity, or just a moment, turn the computer back on and all the programs are there. And then you go on a journey once again to remember the truth that you can connect to the internet of all things and discover the answer that lies within. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience if we look at it as such. And the more that you enrich your own life, the more you can enrich the lives of those around you. There are some people with stupid amounts of wealth that only ever use it for themselves because they are self-centered. Why? Well, again, it's not their fault. It's just what they were taught. It's the belief systems that they have adopted and embodied. It's the information that they have at their disposal. So we go about re-educating the self, and then re-educating everyone else. This is what I'm here to do. I'm here to experience things firsthand, to walk in the darkness and discover the treasures that are only found there, and then bring those treasures back into the light and share them with you. That's what I do. And it's a fucking gift and privilege to be able to do so. The winter was incredibly heavy. And I did feel at more than one point that I was going to actually buckle under the weight that I was trying to carry. And then came that realization and remembrance that what the fuck am I trying to carry this weight for? Why am I holding on to this rubbish and pollutants? Let it go. Return back to that natural and beautiful state of flow, remembering it's all perfect just as it is. And so it is. So, thank you as always for everything you do and for simply being you. Thank you for taking the time, creating the space and time to listen and to be part of my journey as I am part of yours. If you are at a position where you would like to start to level up an exponential speed, warp speed, if you like, the speed that consciousness exists at, that is beyond what is, again, comprehensible to the mind, then check the links in the comments below. Come over and become an official ambassador of the light. Join the Ascension family. And then we will deliver to you all the information that we have collected and downloaded from source above, the secrets to reality and how to go about creating the world of your dreams, not just the life of your dreams, but the world of your dreams, co-creating it here, now, doing so before it's too late. Because it is a balancing act and everything is perfect. And there is 2 destinations that you could reach at the end of this life. In truth, there is an unlimited number of destinations. But in truth, there's only 2. In truth, there's an unlimited, but in truth, there's only 2. And that is the level of understanding and acceptance that you will be able to realize and embody. You could reach anywhere anything you can do. You can go anywhere and be anyone. The truth is, there is only two. The final destination that is in harmony and accordance with you, the reason that you are here to experience or achieve that which you are here to experience or achieve, to reach your dreams and achieve your goals. That is number one. Number two is wherever you end up that is not in accordance with who you are. There is love or fear. There is love or the separation of love. There is light or dark, light or the void of light. Everything else in the middle only exists because of the two ends. You will either be you or you will not be true to you. Whatever version of mistruth that you experience is up to you. And so is being true. So it's time to decide what it is you wish to experience going forward. It's time to decide whether you're prepared to dedicate what is required to yourself, to the evolution of self as well as everyone else. The website houses within it some very, very powerful free workshops, free courses, and training, group training sessions, so that we can continue to evolve and expand the collective consciousness of humanity, raising the collective frequency. And as I raise the collective. And as the collective raises, it raises me. Thank you once again for being you, for being true to you, because in truth, that's all we can ever do. If you're here to laugh and dance and sing, then fucking go do what it is that you're here to do. If you're here to sit in an office typing away behind a computer, looking at spreadsheets, then go do that. Whatever your heart desires is all you ever require. Listen to the internal voice, the one that whispers, not the one that shouts. The one that whispers is the true voice, the internal guidance. The one that shouts is the egoic fear that tries to project itself over the top of that internal voice so as best to keep you safe. But again, the ego does what it does because it believes what it is doing is right. Give it more information and it can choose accordingly a more beneficial outcome and conclusion. Love you all. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Make sure you share today's episode with anybody you feel it may assist. Again, drop us comments below or any of the socials. And if there's any particular topic that you want us to cover, then ask and we will do so. All the social links are below. Have the most beautiful rest of the day, whatever it is you're doing. Remembering it may not be the best day ever, but you can make it the best day possible. Today is the only day. And I say it's a good day to have a good day. Love, light, and infinite blessings. And until next time, namaste. Yeah. Love you. Karren, I love you. Be sure to share today's episode to assist in the collective awakening and global ascension of humanity. Thank you for who you are and everything you do. From my heart to yours, I am with you now and forever.